Ai Weiwei was born in Beijing, China in 1957. Ai infuses his sculptures, photographs, and public artworks with political conviction and personal poetry, often making use of recognizable and historic Chinese art forms and critical examinations of contemporary Chinese political and social issues. In China, Ai, a brave and unrelenting critic of the authoritarian regime, has spent time in jail, was not allowed by the government to leave Beijing for a year, and cannot travel without official permission. As a result, he's become a symbol of the struggle for human rights in China. In his sculptural works, he often uses reclaimed materials, ancient pottery and wood from destroyed temples, in a conceptual gesture that connects tradition with contemporary social concerns. He also employs sarcasm, juxtaposition, and repetition to emphasize the symbolism of traditional images and to encourage his viewers to adjust their views. Ai uses social media to communicate with a global public and to engage fellow artists with projects on a massive scale. Ai Weiwei attended the Beijing Film Academy and the Parsons New School of Design in New York. He has received an honorary doctorate from the Faculty of Politics and Social Science, University of Ghent, Belgium. With this series, Ai produces a not-so-subtle criticism of government and the overarching power a single government can have on its people. The photographs and the gestures within them essentially speak for themselves. Ai focuses on the possible future destination of a democracy in China with a study of perspective. Ai's use of performance gesture is important because gestures are a historically non-verbal method of communicating something meaningful. The simple gesture of the middle finger towards these political institutions, Ai's nonverbal language dictates how he feels about the government corruption and the Chinese institution of government in particular. Ai's political art is effective in that it is politically inspirational. It is directed towards the people more than the institution and encourages them to stand up for what they believe in. Instead of being smashed or destroyed, the vessels in this series are painted and defaced. The Coca-Cola urn in this series dates to 1997 and is from the Neolithic age. Ai takes old and valuable vessel forms from different dynasties and paints the well-known Coca-Cola logo on them, indicative of one of the world's monumental capitalistic enterprises. Here again, Ai undermines our historical theories on the iconicity and value of ancient artifacts. He destroys the notion of respect for these vessels by turning them back into what they were originally used for, a carrier for liquids. As the Coca-Cola bottle is a carrier for a common day soft drink beverage that can be bought in any local market in most places around the world. This photograph is important and relevant to Chinese history and speaks towards Ai's disgust for the commodity, and China being subject to the United States commodities market. Coca-Cola has a long history in China. Coca-Cola was the first United States company to offer and distribute its products in China after the country was opened up to foreign investors. Currently, Coca-Cola makes up for 35% of China's carbonated beverage market. Ai's Coca-Cola vase directly attacks the economic value and history of commodities and artifacts. Although the vessels themselves are worth a decent amount of money in today's current antique market, Ai Weiwei's works are fiercely sought after in the contemporary art market. Because of this reason, Ai is actually adding value to the objects by defacing them. In an ironic photograph statement on commodities, Ai's Coca-Cola vessel becomes a valuable commodity itself, much like Warhol's paintings of Coca-Cola bottles and Campbell's soup cans and Duchamp's idea of the ready-made. Ai Weiwei hates ceramics. However, he believes that as an artist you must work with the objects you hate. Ai treats various artifacts and vessels in his series, dropping the urn, much as he does the monuments and buildings in a study of perspective. By utilizing the destruction of ceramics in this series, Ai truly launched himself into the international political art scene. Dropping the urn, along with the study of perspective, were two series at the beginning of Ai's anti-political works. Ai actually destroys the cultural artifacts that appear in the series, while he metaphorically destroys the monuments and political institutions in a study of perspective. In dropping the urn, he smashes Chinese ceramics to pieces and defaces them in other ways. Many of these vessels are authentic from the period, and such artifacts are an important part of Chinese cultural history and Chinese ceramic production. For this reason, Ai's use of ceramics in this series is significant. I had previously never worked with ceramics before, but ceramic work and vessels have been an important and inherent part of Chinese culture and the Chinese economy for thousands of years. Both photographic series are about perception and perspective. When Ai smashes and defaces these cultural ancient artifacts, he directs criticism at communist Chinese governments, its position in the world economy, and its tradition of destroying its own culture. Ai yet again overturns the historical notion of respect and reverence for cultural artifacts as he demolishes them in order to make performance statements. In essence, he is destroying the old vase in order to create a new work of performance-based photographic art. A Study of Perspective, Dropping the Urn, and Coca-Cola Urn are the three series that prompted the initial signs of activism and the importance of freedom of speech in Chinese society. In conclusion, these three series by Ai Weiwei help us to gain understanding of the artist and the type of politically based artwork that he's making today. They are vital aspects of Ai Weiwei's oeuvre because they laid groundwork for his later career and his international fame and popularity within today's contemporary art world.